Hello, SGA peeps. Hope you guys can see me okay. I'm using a new system here, Screencastify, to see if I can uh, show you this. But Ms. Rogers has asked me to do a little presentation for you, just a little discussion on what's your why. And I did this last semester with her SGA group, so I just wanted to come in and do it virtually for you now that we're all stuck at home and trying to figure out this new life together. So I hope everybody is doing great. I hope you enjoyed my announcements last week. I'll be doing new ones this Friday. But just know that we do miss seeing all of you. I miss even, the discipline and the interactions with teenagers every day. Because really, that's part of the why I do what I do, which is getting ready to talk about. Okay, I'm going to try to present this. There we go. Okay, it did it. Good. And so I'm going to start talking about what's your why. And what I mean by that is I'm gonna is really understanding and knowing yourself and knowing why you do things. I think growing up in high school and teenage life and throughout my life is having a uh, clear knowledge of what my why is for what I do has driven just about every piece of my life and what I've been doing since high school. So first, I want to show you this video. So hopefully this works. Hopefully you see it and hear it. And so I'm going to play it because this will give us some little bit of background.
This was my daughter. My little angel. I wanted her to be the cheerleader she had always talked about. To go to school dances and to hang out with boys. I didn't think that dream would ever end.
What happened? The images of Kennedy's eyes show trauma. Trauma like...
Okay.
How do I know? A lot of people, when they think of the phrase, how do I know, they always want to put the what behind it. How do I know what I'm supposed to do? The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful. If you know, like for instance, people know that I do comedy, but that's what I do. My why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. So I can do comedy, I can write books, I can be in a movie, because all of it is motivated by my why. In fact, I have a new web series out called Michael Jr. Break Time. We probably just did the 6th episode. It's on YouTube. So every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode on YouTube of Michael Jr. Break Time. What it is it's me. I travel around the country and I do stand-up comedy, in case you didn't know. And in the middle of my comedy set sometime, I'll stop and just talk to my audience. And we've been filming this, and it's pretty cool. So we're in Winston-Salem. I'm going to show you a clip from Winston-Salem. And I'm just talking to this guy in the audience, and he tells me that he's a musical instructor at a school. So I was like, all right, you're a musical instructor. Can you sing? Let me hear you sing a song. So this is what happened at the last episode of Michael Jr.'s Break Time. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. Okay. Here's what I want you to catch. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what becomes more impactful because you're walking towards or in your purpose.
Okay, I want you guys to catch that. That when he says that when you know why, your what becomes more purposeful because you know what your purpose is. And I think, in high school, I think that's where a lot of kids struggle is I don't know what my purpose is. I mean, I don't know what my why is. I'm young. I don't know what I'm gonna do in the future. I don't know, and especially now, like I don't know what the future looks like. And so I think it was really that video really kind of gives you a good picture of what we're talking about. So basically, I'm going to talk to you first from a personal standpoint about why I do what I do, and kind of talk to you about how that's played out in my life. So personally, for me, like my why is to love God and serve His people. So that's where I kind of come from a background with my parents who really taught me what it is to serve and to love God and to serve His people through that, and that has always played out in my life. And so for my life, like my why, because I knew my why, and I knew my why pretty early in life as to what I wanted to do. It played out in all the decisions, kind of where I went. Um, this is me back in high school, and we won a state championship. But really, what defined that season for me was I was playing. There was a verse in Corinthians that talks about whatever you do, do it as working for the Lord, not for men. And so for me, like I would tape a, I would tape that verse onto my wrist when I played and when I practiced, so it reminded me that like I'm giving 110%, not because yes, I want to win a state championship, but because that was my why. My purpose in doing it was to glorify God. And when I did, and I want to do that in every piece of what I did. So then that led into after that I went to Chapel Hill, and really that's when I went to college. That was where my why really got tested a lot of why I do things. I wanted to do well there. I struggled when I got to Chapel Hill. I didn't have any friends, was very lonely. Um, and I mean, over the 4 years, I struggled academically. My first class I had, my chemistry class, I made a 30 on the first exam and a 20 on the second exam. There's only 4 exams. And so I was stressing because I wasn't used to that. I wasn't, used to being that way. And so it really kind of rocked me a little bit because I didn't know, but I had to come back to what my why was. Why was I there? My purpose, and that's why I really kind of struggled a little bit there, was because I wasn't quite sure what my purpose was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what degree I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated, and I graduated without knowing. And so I can definitely understand a lot of you guys where you're at, as maybe a freshman and sophomore, and you have no idea, and that's okay. But I still understood my why and trusted that that why would lead me in the right direction. So then I found myself teaching at East Henderson High School, and kind of started to begin to understand my place. I started to find my place and what I wanted to do, and have really been in education now for 15 years. And this is what I do, but I do it because really I want to serve you guys, students, not only students, but now in administration, I want to serve my staff and the people that I serve, and to do that well so that they can uh, teach you guys well and to be able to give you what you need. So my goal now is my why is to continue to glorify God in what I do here in administration. And so that kind of has led me there. It also impacted my personal life. My why I wanted to get married one day, but had to I had some my whys really define what I was looking for. I wanted a guy that was gonna love me and serve me and treat me well, and but also that had the same why that I did. That we both had the same beliefs and the same values, and so we. So I didn't meet my husband until I was 29. So it took a long time, but uh, I kind of because I had already established when I was younger in high school that what I was looking for, and I was very determined to stick to that. I didn't really date. I didn't date anyone until I dated my husband at 29, and it was well worth the wait for me. But that why drove that, and drove. Um, Waiting for my husband and all those things, and so that's where, I now have 2 kids and, been very blessed there in that, and, so, those are the what's in my life. That's the things that have come after, um, determining what my why was, and it's kinda driven those what's, so this is that there I don't just do a job to do my job. I do a job because of the calling that I feel like, the purpose I've got in my life is to make a difference. And so, yeah. So, so what I want you to do while we're kind of here, if you got a sheet of paper or whatever, I want you to just take some time to think about and to kind of jot down some of your whys. What are your whys? Start just thinking why you do things. I often ask students in my office when we're talking about it's a discipline problem, like, what is your purpose in being here? Because a lot of times for students, like if your purpose in being here is not about learning, but it's about hanging out with your friends, or it's about, doing other things that aren't what schools are about, then we start to have conflict and issues. And so for you, I just want you to think about in your what is the reason, and you may not know this, but now is the time to start thinking about that and to start defining that for yourself. Like, why do you do the things that you do? Why do you want to get a diploma? Why do you, not just because, well, that's what you're supposed to do. No, why do you want to do it? The why is so important to drive because it drives all your what's, and it is what gives you purpose. And if you don't know what that is, then your what's are going to be all over the place. So I'm going to give you just a minute to kind of. I'm going to stop talking and let you write some ideas down. So go ahead and do that. Okay, now I know that wasn't a lot of time, and this is probably something you need to go back to. But I want you to watch this video next. We're going to try this next.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject.
As leather seats by our car.
So where do you start? when you have a
We assume even we know why we
start with why.
we assume even we know why we do what we do. But then how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making flat screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there and get back to our thing. So basically what he's talking about is very similar to what we were talking about earlier, is just how your why drives everything. A lot of times we talk about our whats, you know, when people introduce themselves, well, what do you do? Well, what do you do? Instead of talking about your whys. And I would encourage you like to really talk with your friends about what's your why. But I want to go ahead and show you, like from the school standpoint, what our why is, because we have done this. Our mission is we exist to prepare all students to be high achieving individuals in their pursuits of college, career, and civic responsibility. So as a staff, we have come together and defined that this is our mission. This is why we exist. So that all of you, every single one of you at this school, has basically endless possibilities in terms of what they do when they leave from here. And so that why drives all the whats that we do. So this is why, these are our whats. This is why we created a SMART period. This is why our teachers work in PLCs. This is why, as students, you now are able to reassess some of your assessments, and we believe that learning is continual. So that, you know, if we want all students to be successful, we want to give you an opportunity that if you didn't do well the first time, you're going to have an opportunity to do it again and relearn it. But also, we've got a care team that takes care of our students from an emotional and a social standpoint. We have things like AIM Club and our teachers who we hire. When we do interviews for the teachers that we bring into this building, that mission and that vision that we have drives what teachers we hire. And so we often talk with those teachers about what their beliefs are about students and what they believe as to why they're doing what they're doing. And why they get into education. And so their responses to those drive who we consider to hire at the school. And so that's where kind of as a school, we're still working towards analyzing all of our whats. Do they align with what we said our why is? And so those are some of our whats from a school standpoint. And so, I just want you to kind of wrap this up as you write down your whys. And when you think about, then I want you to think about, then how does that drive your whats? Like the biggest what I think right now is your schoolwork. So a lot of people, there's been a lot of questions about, what do I do about my schoolwork? Do I do it? Do I not do it? Are they going to give me a grade for this? Are they going to, well, I'm working 40 hours a week, or I'm doing this, like every student is in a different situation. But when it comes to your schoolwork, it's like, this is where the why hits the road. Like, why am I doing this? And I think you've got to come with that yourself. Like, if I just tell you because it's the right thing to do and you should do your schoolwork, like, well, no teenager's gonna do that. Like, oh, because you told me to do it, I want to do it. No. Like, do you want to continue to learn? Do you want to continue to do the things you need to do to get the credit to get to where you want to go based on what your why is? So that's got to be your question. Like, I'm not telling you to like kill yourself and try to get there. I understand that you've got, some of y'all are having to support your families, and some of y'all don't have internet. Some of y'all, all these kind of things, all these new stresses are happening for kids that have never, none of us have ever experienced. And so, but what I want you to do is this is a perfect time for you to really sit down and think about, what's my why? Like, because at the end of the day, like, I'm going to do my schoolwork because my why is I want to have endless possibilities when I leave from here. My why is I want to graduate and be able to move on with my life and do what I want to do. And if you don't have that why, if you don't have those things, then yeah, like, why would you do your schoolwork? Nobody's holding you accountable for that. Like, nobody's, at this point, like, you're on your own. It's up to you to get it done. You're not sitting in a classroom having a teacher stand over you and say, hey, I need you to get this done. I need you, like, you have to find the self-discipline within yourself to actually take the time and prioritize that. If that's something that is part of your why. And if you find that, like, your priority right now is that you have to work 40 hours a week to support your family, then by all means do so. Like, that's your why, first and foremost, is your family. And so I think, you just have to really get to where you want to think about how that why is going to drive the what's in your life. And what that looks like if you're graduating, what that looks like if you're going to be a sophomore next year, if you're just a freshman, like, defining that is going to be really important in terms of things that play out later in your life. So that's just something I want you to, think about and work on. And so I'm going to wrap this up. I know it's been a little bit long, but I hope everybody's doing well. I do. And please know that if you have any concerns, any stresses, any things, you can always call the school. You can talk to your teachers. We're here. Somebody will be at the school every day, still at this time. So if you got any questions, feel free to call. We don't mind. We'd love to talk to you and hear from you. So hope everybody's doing all right. Hope you look forward to my Friday announcements. Hope to see you soon. And I do hope that we come back, but we'll see what happens. So on that note, go Eagles, and Bradley out.